Here we go. You know, right when I clicked that button, I decided I'm going to do the Dak Prescott cadence to start the video. And I would like to immediately apologize for doing that. I don't think it's funny. It probably hurt your eardrums. I didn't know how to start the video, and that's what I did. So if you can find it in your heart to forgive me, I would appreciate it. And we're just going to move on from it. We're back with another video. I made a Bleacher Report short on this, and I think it should be expanded to talk about in length. And we're going to be previewing this Chargers-Raider game right now because an interesting parallel between the Chargers and the Raiders, in my humble opinion, is that they played the exact same game in Week 1. Obviously, the Chargers, we would all agree, played a significantly better opponent. We had to go into Foxborough. They had to go to Brazil, so kind of a weird environment for both of us. But we both got it done in very specific ways that coalesce. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into specifics. We got a little bit of a deep dive also in this video on Chip Kelly's offense that's being broken down and praised and heralded, and just how much we can take this all from Week 1 and transfer it into Week 2. How much of us playing well was it good Raiders versus bad Patriots? Same thing with the Chargers game against the Chiefs. We're going to talk about everything, how we match up. I'm going to predict the game, even though I've already predicted it. We'll talk about why I might change my mind or keep it the same. But before all that, I just need to tell you about the sponsor of this video, which is DraftKings Sportsbook. With the NFL season in full swing, there is no time better than the present to finally get involved in betting on your favorite football teams, and now you can with the channel sponsorship, DraftKings Sportsbook. The promo that we have here is that new customers bet $5 and then get $200 instantly in bonus bets, and all you have to do is download the DraftKings app and sign up using the promo code ALLaBorde. With DraftKings Sportsbook, the options are endless. Whether you're the type of person that likes to build the perfect parlay for an even bigger payout or bet on games live as they happen, the options are endless. And do not worry, if betting is not available in your state, you can still get in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. We are now living in a post-Week 1 NFL world where the dust is beginning to settle and we see which teams are more consistent than others, along with players playing at their peak performance. There is no better time to take advantage of the promo code to get your $200 in bonus bets after betting $5 to make your most confident bets possible. The next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it. And we're back. So, shout out to DraftKings. Use the promo code. That would help the channel out tremendously. Raiders, Chargers, home opener. The first thing I do want to say right off the rip, home opener. Like, actually a home opener. We're going to have nothing but Raider fans in that stadium. Because, typically, when we travel to what was formerly San Diego, now Los Angeles, it's probably a 60-40 Raider crowd. And that's being generous. It's usually 70-30. So I actually expect this game to set the tone for a different version of what the Allegiant Stadium crowds are going to look like. The best way to create a home field advantage is to win. If you can win, people will show up. Look at the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They came out the gates and were kicking people's asses. And now they're a beloved fan base in the world of hockey. So that's number one. But what I think is really interesting about this game is that we played an identical game to the Chargers. They both aired it out. Herbert had an awesome game. Geno had an awesome game. The defenses held the opposing offenses in check for most of the time. They sacked Patrick Mahomes twice and had like 8 QB hits. We sacked Drake May 4 times. We had a lot of pressure on him throughout the game. Our guys like Tyree Wilson and Malcolm Kuhn stepped up. Max Crosby does his thing, yada, yada, yada. And the secondaries weren't great, but they were fine at best. And both teams had rookie running backs that kind of struggled to get going. Amari and Hampton had a few more rushing yards than Ashton Jeanty, right? But Ashton Jeanty had the touchdown. So I do think this game is going to come down to which team is able to protect the quarterback better and which team is able to get their rookie running backs going. Your opinions can vary in the comments below if you are confident that we'll be able to do those things better than the other team, right, across from us. I do think we have the better weapons, and that's not even close. And I got yelled at for saying that Justin Herbert is clearly better than Geno, and I still think he is clearly a more talented quarterback than Geno. But Geno in this offense is looking top 10. Again, it's only week 1. After this game, we are going to get a better barometer for how what we did against the Patriots can translate to the rest of the season. Because I do think the Patriots are probably a year away from being a very good football team. Right now, they're probably average at best. They're better than we were last year. They're probably a 7 to 9 win team, 9 if they're lucky and a couple balls bounce their way. And week 1s are always a little sloppy. And I think, I didn't confirm this, but I saw somebody say that on Max Crosby's podcast, that in the first half, they still kind of ran sort of a vanilla, keep their cards kind of close to the vest offense. And Pete Carroll throughout the game was saying, wait into the second half, keep going. What am I trying to think of? What's the phrase? Full speed ahead. No, that's not what I'm thinking of. What am I trying to say? Pete Carroll was saying, stick to the plan, be patient. And then once the second half came, we flipped the switch. We started blitzing more. We started opening up the pass game more, and it was over for them. I do expect Ashton Jeanty to get a big-time workload in this game. And I mentioned in my film session, every time the Patriots blitzed, they either sacked us or got absolutely torched. And if Geno Smith is able to read the defenses correctly, because the one time he wasn't against the Patriots, he threw the pick because he only had 2 guys running on routes, and they got double-teamed both of them, and it got tipped and it's intercepted. But if the Chargers blitz against us and don't get home, Geno's going to have a field day, and I don't think Jim Harbaugh wants that to be the case. So he's going to say, Ashton Jeanty, prove that you can beat us. And I expect Ashton Jeanty to have a massive game. If he doesn't have a massive game, and they're only rushing 4, we're in trouble. But that's why I think we have the edge. I actually think right now, our front 4, assuming that Tyree has taken at least somewhat of a step forward, and Malcolm Kuntz is the Malcolm that we saw in week 1, Adam Butler's stuff in the middle, we've got depth, Thomas Booker as well, and Max Crosby's Max Crosby. I think pound for pound, our front 4 is better than the Chargers' front 4. The linebackers are maybe hit and miss for both teams, and the secondary is a little hit and miss too. Maybe they have the edge in the secondary slightly, but we played pretty well. Again, we weren't playing world beaters, but we're not playing world beaters next week. Keenan Allen's okay. Ladd McConkey's great. It's going to come down to Justin Herbert. I do believe we have a better chance of impacting the game with only 4 rushers than the Los Angeles Chargers. And then it just comes down to execution. And I do think this team has been proving time and time and again that they are able and willing to practice hard to be able to execute at the highest level. And it comes down to practicing the right way and coaching. So I expect Ashton to have a big game. If he doesn't have a big game, that means they're stacking the box again, which then I think Geno's going to have another big game. If Ashton's not having a big game, and they're not blitzing a lot, we're in trouble. Then it comes down to Herbert versus Geno on a neutral field with nobody blitzing anybody, and I think Herbert probably beats us in that scenario. And we have to win the turnover battle, right? We technically did win it in New England. They didn't count that one strip sack fumble, but Drake May did fumble. And Pete Carroll did the right thing by calling a timeout to give them more time. But all in all, I expect this to be a shootout, and I expect us to win this game. If we lose the game, I want it to look competitive, and it wouldn't shock me if we lost this game. It wouldn't surprise me. It's a close game. I think they're favored by 3.5. By the time the game comes around, it might be like 2.5 or 3. I just fully expect us to be able to execute at a high level. I don't think the Chargers defense is incredible, but I think it's very good. I think it's on the whole better than ours. I think our offense is a little bit better than their offense. So it's just going to come down to Ashton Jeanty and which front 4 is going to be able to generate more pressure. Omarion Hampton as well. Which front 4 is going to be able to generate more pressure without blitzing. That's the key to all this. So, look, I want to talk a little bit more specifically about Chip Kelly's offense, but before I do, I just have to remind you, shout out to my $5 and $10 patrons and YouTube members. Linked in the description below is the ways to join all this stuff, or if you're watching on YouTube, you could just click the join button. You get your name at the end of the credits, ad-free content, exclusive content, videos days in advance, the chance to call in live, all that good stuff. This is what keeps the channel going. My patrons, shout out to them. And make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. About 50% of you that are watching are not yet subscribed. We're crawling our way to 15,000. Let's get there before Christmas. That might be too much of an ask, but doesn't hurt to ask, right? Let's talk a little Chip Kelly. Let's talk about Chip and G. No, that didn't work. Chip Kelly, this is Caleb. This was September 10th on Just Blog Bailey. Chip Kelly has already made the Raiders offense appointment television. So let's talk about what we're seeing here. The Las Vegas Raiders had an impressive showing in Week 1 as they went on the road to Foxborough and beat the New England Patriots by a score of 20-13. The defense was much better than advertised as they tied for the 6th fewest points allowed in the opening week of the season. I think I'm going to chalk that up a little bit more to bad Patriots, but still good. Like, we've seen bad Raiders defenses give up points to bad teams. Maybe we're just an average defense, which is all we need it to be. However, the offense was equally, if not more impressive, due to a passing attack that thrived. While the Raiders were tied for 15th in points scored, they ranked 9th in total yards and 2nd in passing yards. Additionally, Geno Smith looked very comfortable in Chip Kelly's offense. Las Vegas' big-time offseason acquisition threw for 362 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception while completing 70.6% of his pass attempts. Only reigning MVP Josh Allen threw for more yards in Week 1. And he threw for a lot. He threw for 250 in the fourth quarter. Raiders labeled as appointment television due to Chip Kelly and Geno Smith pairing. Meanwhile, Smith led the league in yards per completion and was second to only two-time MVP Lamar Jackson in yards per attempt. The Raiders' offense looked strong on Sunday. However, there was the feeling that the unit can be even better. An NFL analyst, even claimed the Raiders are must-watch television. That was ESPN's Ben Slowick, who labeled the unit as such due to the lethal combination of their offense coordinator and quarterback. The Geno Smith-Chip Kelly pairing is going to be appointment television, Slowick wrote. On Sunday against the Patriots, the Raiders were first in the NFL in explosive pass rate at 26.3, second in air yards per attempt at 10.3, and second in play action rate at 34.2, all while being blitzed 47.7% of the time. Smith ended the day 24 for 34 for a whopping 362. That's a lot of numbers. Let me summarize. The Raiders went for big plays and hit them over and over again. Smith connected on 9 plays of at least 20 yards, which is the most in the game by a Raiders quarterback since 1991 when tracking of the stat began. He also just became the 6th quarterback in franchise history to throw for at least 350 yards and complete 70% of his passes. This is what Geno does. The two-time Pro Bowlers' 362 passing yards were the most of any quarterback making their franchise debut with the Raiders. While the fact that it was only one game should slightly temper fans' enthusiasm, Smith's performance was clearly levels above anything Las Vegas has gotten from the quarterback position in recent memory. The Raiders' Week 2 matchup will come with a national spotlight, which should open the NFL's world's eyes to just how exciting this team can be. Slowick is already a believer, and the rest should not be far behind. I mean, what else could you ask for after 1 week? Geno airs it out and completes a lot of passes. And he's going to have times where he drives you a little bit crazy. Even on that 4th and 1 where he threw it back across his body, which is the play he had to make. I was like, oh, and then it worked out. I've been saying since day one, this is going to be a top 10 offense. And the way to make the playoffs is to have your defense step up and play better than to be expected. And after 1 week, that recipe has come to fruition. 1 week. Again, we dominated the Patriots for most of that game, especially the second half. It was 20-10 with 30 seconds left. And that was the darling pick to make the playoffs, right? The Patriots. If we could find a way to win this game, and I'm not saying that all of a sudden the division's a lock, but the Chiefs play the Eagles. That's going to be a tough game for both teams. If the Eagles win that game, the Chiefs are 0-2. Whoever wins this Monday night game, the Chargers or the Raiders, is going to be 2-0 and have a 2-game advantage. If the Chargers win, they'll have a 3-game advantage because they beat the Chiefs. So this is about as important as a Week 2 game as you're going to get. And I think the recipe to win this game is Ashton Jeanty. It's picking up the blitz, play action passing, and Ashton Jeanty. John Harbaugh is going to want to get the ball on the ground again. It's unacceptable for him to run as poorly as they did, even though they won the game. You win every game with Herbert throwing for 360 yards, then you're going to win every game. They don't care how they're going to do it. I expect both teams to try to run the rock more. And it might come down to Geno versus Herbert. I personally think Herbert has the edge, but we have the better weapons, and I think we have the better coaching staff. So I want to do something a little bit different now. That's going to be it for me on the Raiders. If something happens in the NFL that piques my interest, I'm going to talk about it for a little bit. I want to talk a little Packers Commanders. Do not worry. This isn't going to be, oh, my God, he's changing the channel. He's changing the channel. Now it's all NFL. It's not. It's not. I'm keeping all the around the NFL stuff to the end. If you don't want to see it, goodbye. Subscribe. You don't have to watch. But if you enjoy my takes on other stuff, then stick around. Doesn't hurt. I wholeheartedly believe that Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Jayden Daniels. And that is not a knock on Jayden Daniels, but we see this all the time. We see rookie comebacks come in, set the world on fire, and everybody anoint him as this top 5 guy, top 7 guy. It doesn't work like that. You got to build your way to the top of the food chain. And Jordan Love, yes, he has his moments where he looks like Jordan not great. And then he has his moments where he looks like Jordan MVP. Jordan Love has started games in this league for 3 years. He's gone into Dallas and he destroyed the Cowboys. He went into San Francisco and had that game like in their hands. Could have went down and, tied the game or took the lead through a bad pick. You got to learn and you got to grow through all this stuff. And look, the Packers are obviously a better team than Commanders, like as a whole, with the Micah trade and everything. And Matt LaFleur is a great coach. But Jayden Daniels, you don't know what he's going to look like when not everything is going his way. And I expect Jayden Daniels to be in this league a long time. But the sports media landscape is such a reactionary business. Even last year, I got roasted over the coals for not immediately saying fire Luke Getsy. Ultimately, Luke Getsy wasn't a good coordinator. That doesn't mean if he has a couple bad weeks that automatically that's the case. And I still don't think he was able to, he's got Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as the quarterback. Okay, he wasn't a great coordinator, wasn't a good coordinator, but the deck wasn't necessarily in his favor. And I think sometimes we just need to take a step back and look at the entire body of work and think about the experience that all these players and coaches and quarterbacks have. Jordan Love right now is a significantly better quarterback than Jayden Daniels. 5 years from now, that could be flipped, and it probably will be. But let's just pump the brakes on putting Jayden Daniels ahead of Joe Burrow and Matt Stafford and Jared Goff even. And I get it, he beat Jared Goff, but the Lions scored 30-something points. Jared Goff was not good in that game, and again, this is not a negative Jayden Daniels take. It's more so a positive take on Jordan Love. I've seen all I needed to see to know that he's a franchise quarterback. People go, I don't know, the jury's still out. The Packers told you immediately when they traded for Micah Parsons, the jury's not out. We know how good this guy's going to be. And he's throwing the ball to a bunch of number 2 wide receivers and Tucker Kraft. Josh Jacobs is a great running back, obviously, but I don't know. That was just my 2 cents on what happened on that game last night. I do think Jordan Love's a top 10 quarterback. And I do think Jayden Daniels is a top 10 quarterback, but I think one is better than the other. And I just use my eyeballs. Which one looks like the more polished quarterback? It's Jordan Love. I'm sure Jayden will bounce back from this and one day be better. And he took a beating. I like that he took a beating and he just kept getting back up. And I'm a Jayden Daniels guy, but Jordan Love is my second or third favorite player in this league after Josh Allen. And he proves time and time and again that he's a very good player with a lot of talent, and he deserves to be ahead of Jayden Daniels in the rankings, in my opinion. Thank you so much for watching the video. Like I said, shout out to DraftKings. Like I said, join the Patreon or YouTube members. Also, Discord is in the description below. Please be sure to subscribe. It's free after no charge to you. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.